This is Trey. I'm going to go up to the ATF and ask him a question. Y'all familiar with Supreme Court cases? Like Katana and the Hughes Amendment? You know the Hughes Amendment that banned the registry and machine guns, right? Yeah. So under Katana, wasn't it 160,000 tasers is common use?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
I know.
I'm not an expert in case law.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, shouldn't the registry be open back up for machine guns if there's 190,000 transferable?
I would recommend that you contact your legislators and congressmen and see if they can work with you on doing something like that, if that's something you believe.
Well, I just think the registry should be open back up because it was under Bruin that says you can't, common use is common use, and back to the time of the founding. Are you the law scholar for the ATF, or somewhat?
Sort of, maybe.
You familiar with Katana, Bruin?
Oh boy.
And the Hughes Amendment? I'm just curious.
I've read up a little bit on the Bruin case recently.
Because that goes to time in the founding history tradition.
Yeah.
Okay. I talked to Dick Heller the other day.
I'm sorry?
Dick Heller from the Heller DC.
Okay.
He's over at GOA. I was so glad to see him.
Okay.
So I talked to him. He was talking about Ayetta, and that was the 1840s, the Arkansas toothpick or the Bowie knife case.
Okay.
And the Supreme Court back then said military weapons should be in the hands of the civilians.
Okay.
So we're moving forward to 1934 in the NFA, which was a tax and unconstitutional. And
right.
From where I look at it, it is. So then we move into 86, and the Hughes Amendment stops new register of new manufactured machine guns.
Right.
So looking at I was alive then. I'm only 46 now.
Right.
So I was 38 when all of a sudden machine guns stopped being allowed.
Right.
So you're looking at all these court cases and how it's stacking up. I disagree with Robert from GOA. Because he thinks that that's the last thing is to get the machine guns back into people's hands. I'm saying I think the registry should be opened up for new manufactured machine guns.
Okay.
Do you see how all these court cases contradict it?
Well, the Bruin case definitely changed things in a big way. And it created a new test, and under Bruin, when evaluating conduct or regulations that infringe the Second Amendment, we now have this new test where we have to look back historically and see whether there's a history in America of similar type of regulation.
Yes. I wasn't talking about getting rid of the NFA. I was talking
about maybe reopening machine guns under the NFA.
Adding them to the registry should be, because that's where I disagree with Robert.
Yeah.
He wants the NFA gone, and I agree with him. I do too. I don't like the NFA.
Yeah.
Suppressors are legal in Europe. Okay. Just go in the hardware store and buy them.
Yeah.
There's a lot, and
I bought a suppressor so my daughter could go hunting, deer hunting, and she was scared of the noise. It's
perfect
for her.
Let me ask both of y'all, do you know the history of why it's rifles 16 and shotguns 18?
Well, I think that has to deal with going back to the days of Al Capone and the gangsters, and their concern in creating the NFA was to eliminate some of these gangster weapons that were being used and things that could fit under trench coats and things.
Well, they were going after handguns for the NFA originally, and then they realized they wasn't going to get that through, so they dropped the handguns. But one of the Congress critters in the 30s said, what if they just cut it into a short barrel? And that's how SBRs got on there.
Okay, all right.
But in 1934 in the NFA, everything was 18 inches or longer. So what I'm saying is after World War II, the government sold M1 carbines to the public, millions of them, through the CMP. And then after selling millions of guns, they said, oops, those are 16 inches. So they ran and rewrote the law to rifles 16, shotguns 18.
A lot of the 22s, though, were 16. And that was one of the reasons.
It's government mistake. And when they make a mistake, they stop measuring from the base and include the balls.
Congress amended the statute.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, lawful process.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's how they change it. I'm just saying the registry being closed since '86.
Congress can always change that, and ATF does not have an official policy on that. I mean, kind of as a gun guy, I can tell you that I think that's worth looking at. One of the reasons why is we really don't have any crime that's committed by registered NFA weapons, unless they're stolen by somebody or something. But a lawful, owner of a registered NFA weapon, the crime rate of those is almost zero.
Yeah.
So because of that, I think there's a good argument to be made that if people are responsible in registering their NFA weapons and there's really no crime associated with it, then there's a good argument one could make.
I disagree with the tax, because you can't, if you tax a right, it's a right restricted. And Tennessee has done some where I live. They used to have a 10-cent bingo sticker on the ammo.
Yeah.
And then they went and looked at it, and I think it was, who was that? He's one of the gun manufacturers around Dixon. He went to the state legislature and they took that 10 cents off because they said an extra tax on a ride is restricting a ride.
I don't think anybody cares about the tax so much anymore. The tax was originally put in place because
stop.
the $200 was put in place in 1934, and it was the same price as a Tommy gun is what it was. So they thought, if we just make this so
Double
expensive,
price,
nobody's going to get these. Today, obviously, that's a non-issue, and it's really, do we really care about the revenue from the $200? No, but it's still part of the law, so that's why we do it.
Well, so at the NRA last year, I ordered my first suppressor. I've been shooting guns since I was single digits probably.
Yeah.
And I ordered my first suppressor, wait 8-9 months, you get it, then I just felt so melancholy and just blah. I waited all for this, and I was really upset about it, so I don't know if I'm going to order another one.
Yeah.
But I feel like, how can Europeans just walk in and buy one? And we got to be restricted, just along with this, silliness.
They don't have a National Firearms Act, and Europeans, don't envy the Europeans because they don't have near the amount of gun rights that we do. They don't have a Second Amendment either.
I don't envy them. I just say they have some of our rules are a little draconic, I guess would be the word, draconian.
Yeah. No, I agree. When you talk about draconian, the two major gun statutes that we are tasked with enforcing are NFA is close to 100 years old now. We're coming up on nearly 100 years for the NFA. And then the GCA. How old is that? I mean,
90. 68, 90. I know that.
Up there,
I watched my YouTube legalese.
50 years for GCA, and coming up on nearly 100 years for these are really old statutes, and the technology is changing all the time. So it'd be great if Congress could update some of these statutes, and come together to do some common sense stuff.
I do have one out of left field if you're willing to take my question.
I'll try. If there's some stuff I can't answer.
No, I know. So background checks, y'all say work. I can rent a budget truck in Bastille, France. How many people did that terrorist kill with a budget truck?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Do you background check trucks? Timothy McVeigh, Bastille, France.
No, I don't think they do.
I hit a guy at TBI with that one day, and he was really upset. Because I told him that, because he was saying these background checks work. I said, but budget doesn't background check nobody.
Yeah. Well, they,
it's just a...
Yeah, I mean, are you suggesting we should start doing background checks for truck runners?
I'm suggesting we keep the criminals in jail and let the people have freedom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah. I think that's one thing everybody agrees on. We don't want criminals having access to guns. We need to do a good job of enforcing the laws that we already have on the books.
Oh, I know. But I just, my main question about this and the video kind of bomb, I'm not going to show you. But my video bomb was more of just, hey, come on, Timothy, or somebody, will you talk to me about how the Hughes Amendment was put in like ill-gottenly, I think.
Yeah.
Because imagine if you look at the curve and there's 190,000 registered machine guns. How many registered suppressors? Do you have an idea?
So I don't know that number exactly. Our NFA division could come up with that number.
How do you get that? A FOIA request?
Yeah, FOIA request would probably be a way of doing that. I'll see. I don't know if I could maybe ask them. Yeah, but there was a number on this. How many suppressors are registered in the NFA? I saw this in some of our paperwork.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
It's in our paperwork.
website? That might be on the website.
Can I pull it out? I've got it on our paper. If you really want to know, give me 5 minutes. I can
come back and talk to you.
Yeah.
I was just curious because I was thinking, like, if you look at the curve number, where do you think machine guns would be today if they would have never stopped them going on the registry? Oh yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'm talking. Because it was like, if you look at all the curves and everything as it's flying up, all of a sudden the machine guns hit a wall, and everything else kept going. SBRs, SBSs, and on.
Oh, it's in our shot show information?
Yeah, it was.
This is the number I do want for my weekly
It was
podcast.
one of the talking points. I can't remember.
I mean, obviously it's going to be estimated because they
Oh, it's going to be.
daily, but
It's going to have 7, maybe 8 figures, I'm sure. Million, 10 million. Suppressors are the most registered, correct?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's right.
All right. So this is our
Unofficial number.
unofficial.
Guesstimate ballpark.
Unofficially, as of December 29th, 2023, number of suppressors currently registered, 3,613,983.
What about it? Does it have SBRs and SBSs? I was curious.
I don't have that information handy. The only reason I have that information is because they pulled it because we had a meeting with some of the suppressor Americans.
I do like the e-forms. It has sped the processing.
Yeah. No, I just had that, happened to be lucky that I had that information handy because we had a meeting earlier this week with the American Suppressor Association, so I remembered having that handy. SBRs we probably could come up with. I remember this issue came up with, it's harder for us to come up with the number for machine guns as well, because we did get FOIA for that a while back, and I think there was an issue because
I can't remember. I think it was Legally Armed American or somebody I watched on YouTube. He had the number.
did he? Okay.
It was somewhere in the ballpark of 180 to 190,
Okay.
which I looked at when I heard that. I said, that's more than the tasers in the Katana case,
Yeah.
which defines common use.
Right.
And I was like, well, the Supreme Court said that. Shouldn't they open the registry back up and say, oops, we're sorry? And you know, there's a lot of people with $25,000, $30,000 machine guns that would be really pissed if their gun just.
Would they,
I don't care.
That's an interesting question. So yeah, I mean they've got expensive stuff. So on the one hand, you lose the value of your expensive machine gun.
Rich
On the
people
other
lose
hand,
their
though,
value.
On the other hand, you get to buy more machine guns. So
Well, the market will start getting flooded with them, and more and more.
yeah, it's like AR-15s. They're like a dime a dozen now.
Oh yeah. Well, lightning links and all that. That unfortunate auto keycard case that they couldn't make them work, but they still charged that guy. I hate that. The Hoover case, have you heard that one?
That's a jury issue. I mean, you know, as to whether
I
or
can't.
not.
The ATF and they couldn't even make it work. But have you seen the shoestring machine gun?
No.
The ATF classified a shoestring and 2 keychains as a machine gun. Did you know that?
No, I'd have to see that classification letter.
I'll show you the picture if you want. But I appreciate it,
Do
Tim.
you have the classification letter?
Somebody submitted a photo of a Mini 14, and they had the shoestring wrapped around the trigger on the back that could be pulled from behind the trigger guard. And then the front of the shoestring was the correct length that by pulling backwards, it would pinch the trigger between the guard and the trigger, and the trigger would pinch.
Okay.
And then when it would close, when it would cycle, it would let off, so the trigger would reset. Then when it would close, it would pinch again.
Okay.
And the ATF said, hey, that's a machine gun.
Okay.
I thought,
Well,
man.
yeah, generally we don't do classifications just by a submitted photo. They got to send in the firearm or the item or whatever.
I'll find a picture when we get off. I'll show it to you off
Okay.
camera.
All
But I do appreciate it,
Yeah,
Timothy.
no problem. It's good talking with you.
I'm not going to show your face. Thank you.
All right.